Some years ago, we have a after-school program, and some years ago, we had a young man from Winston-Salem State who came to us as an intern. And we noticed there was something very special about this young man. Being an old Justice Department person, we did a background check on him, right? And we found out a few things about him. We found out that he has to be careful when he goes back to the state of New Jersey, and he's still looking for him. I'm just kidding. He did have a reputation in New Jersey. He grew up like a lot of us. He grew up on the streets. He learned how to take care of himself and help his family. But he wanted more than that for himself, and he came to Winston-Salem and went to Winston-Salem State University. And that's how we met him. And as he spent time with our young people, we realized that there was something different about him, that he had the ability to communicate even deeper than I can. I think I'm a good communicator, but I found out that he has some unique skills and abilities that we learned and that we still respect very highly. After he graduated, we hired him. But he continued to reach out and to gather additional education, enrolling in classes at Wake Forest University, and also being an entrepreneur. Now, he was an entrepreneur in New Jersey, but we ain't gonna mess with that. But now he's an entrepreneur here, and he's doing great things, and we know that one day I'm gonna have to go to him and get a loan, because that's how much money he's gonna be making. How about a hand for our guest speaker, Mr. Andre Russell?
Good evening, fellas. Good evening, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys giving me a moment of your time to speak with you. I do understand how important time is. Time, to some of you guys don't, you may not believe it, but time is more important than money. Because with time, you can never get it back. With money, you can always make it back. I done lost big and I done won big, but, I can never get those moments back where I learned some critical things. So tonight, I'm just going to give you guys a brief synopsis of my story. Mr. Bill kind of let you guys know what my situation was. My name is Andre Russell. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. I got 5 brothers, 3 sisters, single parent. So I grew up in the struggle a little bit, but I always had like an entrepreneur spirit. I always was willing to go get it. Unfortunately, my mind was altered to believe that because I was in a certain situation, I could only get it one way, right? And so I'm here to encourage you guys that you can get it any way you want to get it, because anything that you see that is existing, the mind thought of it first, right? If you think about this, flat screens are out now, Xbox Ones, PS4s, right? They came out 2013, 14. They were sending people in space in 1960. So think about how deep that is. I don't know if you guys can really, think about it, but just think about in 1960, before they had flat screens, before they had color TV, they were sending people in space off of somebody's idea. Somebody who had the same amount of time in the day that you have to operate, somebody who has the same 24 hours in the day that you have to hustle and make some of yourself. I did graduate from Winston-Salem State University. However, my detour to college wasn't like you guys would think. I graduated high school in 2003. Didn't have any plans, wasn't really trying to do anything but get money, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, I sold narcotics. I sold heroin, crack cocaine, marijuana, ecstasy, Oxycontin, Roxycontins, Percocets, whatever I could sell, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be as real. I'm going to try to be as real with you guys as possible, man. I'm not going to cut no corners because you don't respect corners being cut. You got to be very direct with you young brothers. A lot of you dudes who know me from my everyday basis, y'all know I'm very direct. Sometimes I'm a little too direct for some of these older guys' ears. But like I said, man, I graduated high school in 2003. 2 of my homeboys who were playing junior college ball in New Jersey had got a scholarship to come down to North Carolina. It was either between Florida A&M and Winston-Salem State University. So, you know, we go where the money at. Winston-Salem State was offering more money. So when they came back to New Jersey, I was in the hood scrambling, doing what I do to get money, you know, just a lost brother. And they was like, listen, we could get double the money down south. Had to take that risk. I'm like, I'm going. Mama, I'm going. She's like, where you going? I'm like, I'm going to college. Not knowing that I was going to go to college, but that's what I wanted to tell her to feel comfortable. I'm her oldest son. She don't want, you know, she knew what was going on, but she was like, well, as long as you're doing it around here, I know where you at. So ended up leaving August 5th, 2005. I touched down Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Culture shock wasn't the word. I had spent 21 years in New Jersey, and it was totally different down here. So long story short, man, I got to the money ASAP, you know, started building my brand, letting people know what it is that I got, shaking and baking in the town, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, birds of a feather flock together. If you in the streets, you can recognize if another brother in the streets, what they doing, how they getting busy. And that was my mindset. But something strange happened. One of the coaches for my homeboy was like, listen, man, you know, we had a conversation. He was like, man, you pretty bright. Because I always related everything to the streets, school. And if you look at your handouts, you know what I'm saying, it says how I made college my hustle, right? So long story short, I ended up getting into school just off my homeboys, and they talking to a coach, and the coach talking to somebody in the administrative office, and I ended up getting into school. So it was all good. School set up. I was like, oh yeah. I went to Winston-Salem State bookstore. This is the dumbest thing I did since I was in college. I was so excited to be in school. I went and bought a $21 notebook. The same notebook that I could have got from Family Dollar for $2, Walmart for $3, but I'm just happy to be in school. I had no formal training on how college went. Didn't know about schedules, didn't know about organizations. I just knew get money on campus. It's 33 girls for every one guy. Let's go. You feel me? That was my mindset. Let's go. So we're going through the process. Man. You know, I'm just out here on campus. I'm hitting classes up, not really doing that, not taking advantage of it, because I didn't have nobody to really tell me how to prepare, how to use my time, how to build my brand, how to exercise what I knew to, you know, leverage relationships to make money for myself in a positive way. Things that I learned later on through experiences, right? So college is going good, you know. I got homegirls helping me pass. I'm just doing what I knew how to do, you know what I'm saying? And for me, my reality changed as far as the man you see today standing in front of you. My reality changed in October 2008. Like Mr. Bill stated, I was involved into some street things that I really shouldn't have been involved in, but I was taught, hey, you get it how you live and spend it if you got it, right? That was my mantra. Get it how you live and spend it if you got it, right? And so as a criminal, you always think of ways to outsmart the system. You know what I'm saying? You're always thinking, well, I'm going to stash it here, or I'm going to get a stash box there, or I'm going to hold it over here, or I'm going to hide it here, or I'm going to pay my lawyer to say this and say that. But what I didn't realize is that you get in trouble sometimes, not for your actions, but for the actions of those individuals that are around you. So, like I said, I came down here with 3 gentlemen initially, right? The last one to come down here, and let me say the only one to graduate. So me and my homeboy was like a brother to me, who I still communicate with to this day. He had been doing some things that, you know, I wasn't into. You know, I was a hustler. He was a robber. You know what I'm saying? He was you know what they say, the violent take by force. He was more violent. But that was the energy of our environment at the time. You know, if you guys know about Newark, New Jersey, you know it's a small to mid-sized city, but everybody's on top of each other. So it's like if I'm outside doing something, hustling something, 9 times out of 10 on the next block they're doing the same thing. So, you know, eventually it's like it's not enough money to share, so we start to, you know, have problems with one another, and those type of things turn violent. So that same attitude that we brought from up north, we brought it down here. Nobody sat down and said, listen, young brother, slow down. You see what I'm saying? So we still 100 miles an hour, we're getting into all types of things. Well, I remember this night distinctly because I was in New York City. I had flew up with one of my homeboys from New York. We went up there to go get his car and drive it back down. So I got back in Winston about 5:30, 6 o'clock that morning. Took it right down. I had class at 11. Took it right down. 7:30, 8 o'clock, I just hit hard. What's going on? So I look out my window. I see 4 Caucasian Americans, shirts, ties, and badges. So the first thing I do, I jump up. look around, make sure I ain't got nothing in the crib. I'm good. Yeah, how you doing? Can I help you? Yeah, we looking for Will MacArthur. I'm like, well, he don't live here. He not here. So like I said, I wasn't educated. I wasn't schooled. Now some of the things I'm gonna talk to you guys tonight about are very important, especially because you brothers look like me, you sisters look like me, you understand? And like he stated earlier, when you're 13% of a race, when you're 13% of a country, when you're 13% of a people that occupy a land, but you're almost 50% of the people that they incarcerate, you gotta take a clear look at yourself and say, yo, what's going on? We 13% of the people, but almost 50% of the people locked up. That's a war. You know what I'm saying? That's a war. So just wasn't knowledgeable to that, right? Wasn't knowledgeable to laws. I just thought, you can get money, man. Money make anything disappear. And so they came, they was asking about my partner, and I'm like, nah, he not here. They like, do he live here? I'm like, nah, he don't live here. So they like, you mind if we search? I'm like, yes, I mind if you search. Now, it's 4 or 5 detectives talking to one guy, you know what I'm saying? So I knew he wasn't there. I'm like, well, listen, I don't want to make my apartment hot, you know what I'm saying? You guys are standing in front of here with squad cars. If I let one of you guys come in and look, you guys see he's not here, then, you know what I'm saying, you guys can leave. Because I knew I didn't have anything in the house, right? I wasn't that dumb, at least I didn't think I was. So they ended up looking. I let him go upstairs, walk through the apartment. He ain't see nobody. I knew my boy was gone. So I come back downstairs, and I see the other detectives who I didn't let in gathered in my living room. I'm like, all right, listen, I got to go to class. It's time for y'all to go. They're like, Mr. Russell, place your hands behind your back. You're being arrested. I said, arrested for what? Just like that, like arrested for what? They're like, well, for possession of marijuana. I was like, I don't have any marijuana. Like, you know what I'm saying? You guys can't show me it. Well, little did I know, they didn't have to show me nothing. You see what I'm saying? So what they did was they locked me up to get a search warrant to search my apartment, right? Now, like I said, you can get in trouble for things that you're not even necessarily involved in because it's called karma. What you put out comes back, right? Believe that. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. So anyway, just so happened they locking me up. I see them they wait outside my apartment, wait for the warrant to come. Guess who comes down the parking lot? My homeboy. I'm in the back of the squad car. They see him, they take off. Fast forward. He gets locked up. He gets charged with 37 counts of armed robbery. Now, if you know about armed robbery, you know that, it comes with a 7-year stint per, and any guns that's found on the premises, because of the amount of cases, it becomes a federal case. Now everybody heard of the feds. I know 2 Chainz say the feds watching. Well, I didn't think it could get that serious because I'm saying, we getting a little bit of money and we ain't doing nothing too crazy. But they came and they got involved. And what ended up happening was I ended up fighting a drug case, and then they ended up recharging me with distribution, right? And so now here I am going for a simple possession. I get locked back up for distribution. So now this is what happens when when you occupy a dwelling and you guys get criminal charges. The people that I was renting from, they had the right to kick me out, no notice, right? So I bail out of jail. I come home. My house is tore up. I had to post a high bail. I ended up having to pay a lawyer $4,700 to fight this case for me, right? And my homeboy locked up. Now we like brothers, we came down together. We were involved in a whole lot of things together. So we got family up north. So of course his mother's calling me, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And I don't have no answers to it. What do I say? Hey, your son was out here robbing, and they caught up to him. So I'm just trying to curb the situation. Let Mom Dukes know, nah, it's okay. Everything's all right. But the meanwhile, I'm stressing. I'm currently in school with a felony charge on my record, right? They charged me with a felony. And anybody knows if you go to school and you get charged with a felony, they can stop your financial aid. I mean, they pull your money. You got to pay out your pocket if you got it. And school is expensive, to be quite honest with you. So all these things happening. Man, some of my guys get together. We try to post my homeboy bail. His bail $250,000. We like, oh, we ain't got that. So now, he ends up sitting. And I remember this is the day that things really changed for me. We went to go see his lawyer, and the lawyer said, we was like, well, look, what they talking about? You know what I'm saying? What they talking about? The very first plea they bought my homeboy was 62 years. We 23 years old. I never heard of a number like 63, 62, 63 years. Like, what are y'all talking about? Are y'all serious? He's a good dude, right? But it didn't matter at that point, right? Because his brand had been established. He had been identified as a robber. So in the court's eyes, he was a violent offender. To me, he was my friend. To his mother, that was his son. To his sister, that was their brother, right? But all that mattered was how the court saw him at that point, because there was nothing that I, nor his mother, nor his brothers, nor his sisters could do for him at that point, right? And so that kind of woke me up, because I said, if the same energy I'm putting into these streets to make this money, which, by the way, was the most worrisome money I ever had to worry about, from that day forward, anytime I did illegal activities, you know, I'm constantly worried out. I'm constantly worried. Even before that, I'm just constantly worried. Like, man, yo, who's watching? You know, who's on it? What's what? So, you know, I was constantly worried, man. And that, to me, changed my mindset. That made me say, look, if I can put all this energy into hiding money, stashing money, making money, picking up work, traveling it from New Jersey back down, I'm really putting a team together of people. I got girls to drive. I got homeboys who like 3 or 4 people removed from me that's holding money for me that can never let. I'm putting all this energy into being a drug dealer. And I'm like, yo, I could put this energy into being a business owner. I could put this energy into being, you know what I'm saying, somebody who owns property. I could put this energy back into you all, right? Because you guys don't have to learn from your experience if I went through it so that you guys don't have to go through it. It's like if I walked outside this door right now and somebody shot me smack in the head and it's another exit right there, how many of you guys are going to walk out the door that I just got shot at? Raise your hand. Nobody. Nobody, right? Now, unfortunately, that's not true, because some of you guys, fathers, uncles, brothers, cousins, went to prison. And some of you guys are heading down the same road, the same path. You have the same ideologies. You have the same mindset. You have the same attitude, right? And you watch your cousins and your uncles and your brothers and your friends come in and out of prison for the same things that you're involved in. That's insane. That's literally insane. I mean, as a people, as a young people, we're doing or acting insane. We're watching them take us, the minority, the 13%, and put almost 50% of us in prison, and we're doing the same thing. How many of you guys in here have been or are currently in trouble with the law? How many of you guys have ever been to juvenile? How many of you guys have ever been locked up? Now, listen. One of y'all over there had an ankle brace on last year. I know about my Winston boys. So you ain't got to really, you know what I'm saying, hide it from me. I understand the struggle, you know what I'm saying? I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to give you guys some game, right? Because somebody gave me game and I cleaned it up. Because I'm going to tell you something. The older you get, for you guys who out here, who into the streets, who into the women, nobody wants a deadbeat. I'm going to tell you the 2 most attractive traits that women have told me that men can exude. That's confidence and intelligence. You see what I'm saying? Because when you're confident in yourself, your swag is different. You move different. You talk different. You walk different. And when you're intelligent, you can hold a conversation with anybody. Now, right now, a lot of you guys who don't know me don't know that I'm covered with tattoos. I got about 40 or 50 tattoos from my neck to my hands, right? But when you look at me right now, that's not what you see, because that's not the brand I'm portraying tonight. My business is called Future Endeavors. I work with youth. I do professional and social development. When Mr. Bill asked me to come tonight, he didn't ask me to come on just behalf of myself. He asked me to come on behalf of my business. So normally, you might catch me in some Trues, some ACGs, some Robins, you know what I'm saying, something like that when I'm on the street. But because I'm representing my business, my brand, that means my apparel, my appeal has to be different, because tonight you're meeting with the business version of me. Now, some of you guys know the personal side of me. I like to get busy. I like to have fun. I like to chill. Some of these young ladies are in my program over there at Parkland, right? They know I'm just as cool as a fan. But we have to deal with this thing called duality. Now, duality, what duality is this. Duality is the ability to be a father, a son, a brother, a husband, a homeboy, a boss, and in the streets if you have to. You have to have many different sides to you. It's called being adaptable, right? Now, a lot of things that I notice with you young brothers and sisters is this. A lot of you guys don't know who you are. right? You're too busy emulating the person that you think everybody wants you to be. Now, let me just give you guys this, this PSA. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. Like, it's called affirmation. I'm encouraging myself too, because the same things that you all deal with, I deal with too. I have a criminal history. Do you know how hard it was for me to get a job? That's why I was so appreciative of Mr. Bill to give me a job, right? But from that job, I built a platform. And from that platform, I built the business. It's the same thing in the streets. If you go from a lookout to a runner to a worker to a boss, you got to learn all the levels to it. Because if you just go straight to the boss, all the workers are going to be working you because they know that you don't know the street level. You know what I'm saying? And if you're always on the streets, you can never appreciate what it's like to have the finer things because you don't think intelligent. You don't think like a boss. You guys have to mix that. You right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, hey, don't do certain things. I've done it, and you know what? Those are my best experiences. But if it's a fatal mistake that you know that you guys are making, then don't do it. A part of that is knowing who you are. Right now, it's very, very, very important for you young ladies and you young men to know who you are. Because if you know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you don't want, you know who you like, you know who you don't like, you know what you'll stand for, you know what you won't stand for. Some of you guys have a hard time saying no simply because you don't know who you are. Some of you guys aren't built like your homeboys, right? Some of your homeboys may be a little tougher than you, but because you don't know who you are, hey, I'm not a fighter. I don't want to be a fighter. But because all my homeboys fighters, I'm forced to be a fighter, right? And if you look at the streets and if you look at, a lot of other games, man, this is what makes people jeopardize the person that they are, right? If you're in the streets and you know that you're not a street person, but because your environment calls for you to be street, or your father might have been street, you got to live up to his reputation, or your homeboy street, and you get involved into the streets, right? That's what makes, a lot of these individuals, and, I want to be frank with you guys, that's what caused people to tell on people, right? Because, remember, a person who knows themselves know what they're built for. They know what they're capable of, right? How many of you guys watch First 48? Have ever seen First 48? I don't even know why they call it First 48. They should call it the first 2 minutes, because they get in there and they tell everything. So listen, hey, we caught you doing this. All right, listen, it was my mother's best friend's boyfriend. He lived on 47 Nickel Avenue. I could bring you to him. I'm not trying to go to jail. Now, the reason they're jeopardizing who they are or their reputation is simply because they didn't know what they were built for, right? Now, go back to my homeboy who's doing it. By the way, they offered him 60 years. He ended up copping out to 17 and a half. He went down in 08. His release date is October 5th, 2024, right? Yeah, I know. Dang, that's what you got to say. Dang. And so one of my biggest fears while he was locked up was, yo, what if he tells what we're doing to get less time, right? Because you never sure. You don't know. When you hear 60 years, you say, yo, 60 years, how much goes through your head when you hear 60 years? You think about, damn, I got nephews who will be in their 50s. My mama probably going to be dead. My sisters, I hope they're alive. My homeboys, what did they forget me? Now, if anybody knows about the federal system, they ship you. You don't just stay one place. See, if you get locked up in North Carolina on a state charge, oh, you might be in Butner, you might be in close custody, you might be somewhere here. But with him, he done been shipped from North Carolina back to New Jersey, then to Philadelphia, then to Oklahoma. Right now, he's in Fort Worth, Texas, right? Now, his mother could barely afford to see him when he was down here locked up. How you think she gonna get to Texas? You see what I'm saying? A lot of times when we making decisions, and we making decisions based on what we think other people want us to do, want us to say, want us to be, we make the wrong decisions. We make the wrong decisions. Now, some of you guys, I'm not going to just sit here and tell you what to do and not tell you how to do it. I'm going to give you guys some game. Turn off the phones, turn off the TV, turn off the game, right? Go in your room. Give yourself 15 minutes a day, right? And it's going to be hard initially. Because like I said, I'm talking to y'all, but I'm talking to me too. It's going to be hard initially. But you guys got to ask yourself these critical questions. Who am I? Who am I? Am I a talker? Am I quiet? Am I outgoing? Am I not outgoing? Am I a tough guy? If I'm not a tough guy, do I like to read? Don't I like to read? Then ask yourself, What do I want to be? Where do I want to go, right? Then ask yourself, who do I want to go on that journey with me? Now, a lot of you guys is homeboys, hot five, cool, everybody, everything all good, right? But let me tell you something. A lot of you guys won't be friends with the friends that you're friends with right now in 5, 6, 7 months, let alone years, because things change. People change. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I've been out of New Jersey since 2005. This is about to be, I think, 9 years for me. I've been down south. I was able to get a formal street education and also get a academic education, right? So my homeboys who were never able to obtain a college degree, it was a disconnect there. They look at me like, man, son, you left. What's up? You left. Like, I mean, we don't got nothing to talk about. You're not dealing with what we dealing with every day, right? So those are friendships that were forged in the streets that no longer exist because we don't have as many shared values anymore, right? So that's why it's very important to know who you are. Secondly, you gotta have the ability to adapt, right? Because right now, if I take this suit jacket off and I throw in some shoes and I throw in a fitted, you know what I'm saying, and I go to the streets, or if I'm walking around Cleveland, or I'm walking around, you know what I'm saying, community to talk to individuals about stuff that they need to know, I probably won't dress like this, and I could turn it up. You see what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, I could play however you want to play it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have that ability to, if you want to go there, let's go there. But, you know, I'd rather keep it peaceful, and I'd rather keep it humble, because that's really what it's about. See, my biggest fear for you all is that you guys won't get a chance to participate in stopping the war. See, here's the thing. I got homeboys who are felons, right? Now, I'm a carry concealed. I have a Glock 40. I have an AR-15. I have a 9mm Smith & Wesson. I have one of those pistols in my vehicle right now. I keep it on me. I would have bought it in here, but respect for Mr. Bill. Now, here's the thing, though. I can carry those and feel totally comfortable. Police can't say nothing to me. I can expose it. I can cover it up. If you feel it, you feel it. What you going to say? You can't say anything to me. Now, you guys are putting yourselves in positions to get felonies and putting yourselves in positions to where you won't even be able to, if right now the country went economically and everybody had to stand their ground, fight for their property, fend for their families, how many of you guys could legally say, listen, I'm strapped, I'm ready to go? See, and that's the thing about it, man. It's a war going on out here, and you guys haven't identified your enemies yet, right? And so that goes into my next point. If you guys are reading the paper, you guys have to identify your enemies. Stop fighting one another for things that you don't even know what you're fighting for. You know what? Like, where I'm from, we fight for blocks, right? Listen, I run 17, 18, 19, and 4th Ave. That's me. That's my strip, right? Well, I run 21st, 22nd, 23rd. We got everything jumping over there, right? Well, I want your block now because your block get more money than my block. But we don't own a house on that block. We don't even, you know what I'm saying? We don't own nothing on the block. My information is not up at this point. I'm sitting here saying, if you look at the grand scheme of things, I'm saying, okay, here we go. The people who are sitting back like, yeah, let him fight. Oh, he got a gun. Charge him with a felony. He killed him. Well, that's a murder first degree. We're going to lock him up, right? My homeboy tells me, because he in the feds, we communicate via email. He like, yo, I hate to ask y'all, but could y'all send me some money? Of course, I'm going to send you some money. He told me last month, the whole month he worked, he made $2.86. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know how real it is. And if you don't work, you go to the hole. If you say, nah, I'm not going to work today, you going to the hole, right? So think about it as the hole is you get isolation for 30 days. You want a private block, right? The porter got to come through. You can't feed yourself. You can't go to breakfast. You can't go to dinner. You can't go to chow. You cannot get commissary. So even if you got $1,000 on your books, you can't spend that unless you spend it on hygiene. You can't buy snacks. You can't get magazines. You're in the hole. That means you by yourself, isolated, right? Now, my homeboy 6'3", 240. I don't care how big and how bad you are. Some days you just want your mother. Some days you just want to talk to your mom, right? And when you realize, like, boy, the reason I was doing what I was doing was to help my family, and now nobody's helping my family because they took the man out of the household, things become more clear. Clarity sets in, right? And I always think, my homeboy, I say, yo, bro, if you wouldn't have got locked up, man, I don't even know what I'd be doing. right? So I don't want you guys to be put in that position where you got to make those decisions or jeopardize who you are, right? Who you are, because some of you guys aren't built like the man next to you. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's nothing wrong with that. Don't let TV, media, rappers, entertainers tell you otherwise. I got some homeboys who are entertainers, and I tell you, the majority of these dudes who rap is cold soft. Now, the guys around them may be hard body, but they cold soft. And all the real rappers who do real things, they've been to prison. Beanie Siegel, prison. T.I., prison. You feel what I'm saying? They've been to prison. You're going to go down because it's hard. Think about it. If you are 13% of a race and 48% of you are incarcerated, that means they're targeting you for no reason. You're a target. So even if you do something small and they see it, they'll magnify it to something big to where they're going to take you out of your household. They're going to put you where they want you to be, making money for them, not for your family. So who's the slave, right? It's no time to be cute about it, fellas. Like, you guys got to step up and stop playing, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not a game no more. Facebook and Instagram, FBI, some of you guys post the dumbest things on social media, and I get pissed all the time because I'm saying, you're not even getting money and you posting drugs. You're not even legal when you holding straps. Some of y'all is felons looking for indictments. And I bug out. And I bug out because I'm like, damn, man, these some lost brothers, right? Y'all want to get y'all money up, but y'all not getting y'all information up. So right now, Bill Gates walked in the room. The owner of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, walked in the room. Donald Trump walked in the room. Michael Jordan walked in the room. And they said, listen, you get anything you want right now. You can ask us for anything. Be honest. How many of you guys have asked for over $1 million? Keep your hands up. How many of you guys have asked for under $1 million? Under $1 million, put your hand up if it's under. If it's over, put your hands up. Now remember, these are billionaires. Now, that's the majority of the room. Now listen guys, this is game right here. I'm going to put you guys on game. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Donald Trump, Michael Jordan, they couldn't wait to give you the money. You know why? Because they could write that off. Now, here's the question you got to ask yourself. If Michael Jordan, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg walked in a room, if you was to ask Bill Gates, hey Bill Gates, can you give me the information? Can you give me your connects to how you made your billions? He'll look at you and say, I'd rather cut you a check. You feel me? Because the moment you get the information, it's like, I don't need you no more. I know what you know. Now let's get busy, right? But if I give you the money, he's like, yeah, I'm going to give Marcus the money. Here's $5 million. You never had $5 million before, so I'd say you don't know what to do with it. You'll be broke again. You see what I'm saying? Because instinctively, if you're from the streets, you're going to put that money right back in the streets. I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to do it that way, right? But here's the thing, though. You guys are kings and queens. You guys have the innate ability. If it wasn't for you all, the economy would not be jumping, because everybody in here, it's at least 5 people in here with a LeBron on. At least 5 people in here with a Nike or a Polo or something like that that keeps the economy going. And by the way, nobody your color owns the brand that you're wearing. I just wanted to give you guys game, right? Because I heard my man Dame Dash, who owned Rockefeller, he was like, I was talking to some of these Jewish cats, man. He was like, and it was just his homeboys, right? They owned the record labels. And they was like, you know what? Yo, we look at you guys black money like water. He was like, man, what you mean? He was like, man, you know, like when you put water in somebody's hand, you can't hold on to water. He was like, nah, no. He said, that's, you know, and listen, I'm not being racist, nor am I being prejudiced. I'm just being real. You guys need to understand that you can only build as a unit. In life, you do 2 things, people, and this is as clear-cut as it goes. You're either building or destroying. There is, if you want to make life as simple as possible, think every day, today, am I building or destroying? When you waste time, you destroy, because you let things pass you by, opportunities pass you by. When things pass you by, if an opportunity like this passed me by, man, I wouldn't be building my brand. You understand what I'm telling you? I want to get paid to work with youth. So whenever there's an opportunity for me to speak, work, or enhance any skills, I'm there. Because at this point, it's not all about the money. It's about the brand. How many of you guys heard of the Brooklyn Nets? I know you guys heard of the Brooklyn Nets. Who owns the Brooklyn Nets? Thank you. I'm glad y'all said that. I'm glad y'all said that because that's what they want you to believe. I'm gonna tell you guys a secret, and you guys could Google it. You guys got smartphones. Jay-Z owns 0.3% of 1%. He don't even own a whole percent. He owns 0.25%, right? But check this out though. And Jay-Z's so smart about this because I know you guys heard when he said, I'm not a businessman, I'm the businessman. You see what I'm saying? His brand. So what the guy who owned the Nets said was, listen, Jay-Z, spend $300,000 on $1 billion team. We'll give you a small percentage of a percent, right? But we're going to market you because we know that when people think Jay-Z, they think cool. And you're from Brooklyn. We're going to bring the Nets to Brooklyn, right? And Jay-Z said, cool, I get a check for doing that. Because we don't need to tell the people how much I really own because I really own barely nothing, right? But what I am going to do is this. I'm going to elevate your stock because now when me and my wife Beyonce sit in these front rows and we bring Puffy out and we bring Fab out and we bring all the rappers out and everybody wants to come and check out the Brooklyn Nets, that's gonna raise the value of the stock, right? I'm going to sell my stock because I didn't really own it. And I'm going to open up a firm for athletes where I recruit all the athletes who come and play the Brooklyn Nets, like Kevin Durant, like a LeBron James, right? And so it's like, well, Jay-Z, you can't own the Brooklyn Nets and have a sports agency at the same time. Cool, sold my part. But what he did do was he invested into the building, right? Because the building is like, they don't just play basketball in this building. We have concerts in these buildings. We do circuses in these buildings. We do events in the buildings. That's where they're at. But because Jay-Z brand was so strong, and because you thought if Jay-Z owned it, it must be a big deal, which he didn't own a lot of it, it was able to take the Brooklyn Nets to elevate them to a high level, made them one of the most expensive franchises in the NBA. That was strategics. That was strategy. That was building a brand, right? Now, the first person outside of God you should have a relationship with is yourself. Because when you know yourself, you know your strengths and your weaknesses. I knew my strengths and my weaknesses. This is how I did my, and I don't want to encourage you guys to do this, but this is how I did my crimes. I said, anything that carried 5 years and under, I could do it. Because I know it's going to be state time. I'll be home in 2.5. I could do that. But anything that carried 6 or better, I ain't built for it. I ain't built for it. Just being real with you. Not built for it, right? So I knew that early. You know what I'm saying? I knew that early. I identified with that early. But I still made decisions that could have jeopardized those ideologies and those thinkings because my environment dictated how I thought, how I spoke, how I acted, right? And that's not what is supposed to happen. Like I tell you guys all the time, man, you have to identify your enemies. Most people that you think are your enemies or your haters, they don't really hate you. They don't even know why they're hating you, right? The biggest person or the biggest persons that we have to worry about is ourselves because we put ourselves in positions to fail, right? Now, you guys would go quick to jump somebody, beat somebody up, right? But a police officer could stop a black man, handcuff a black man, shoot a black man, don't even go to jail. They settle. $1 million for your family. That's what he was worth, right? And I don't see any of you guys standing online to protest the fact that they killed one of us. But you will stand online for a release date. See, these are the things that are getting scary. The biggest tool in war is called distraction. If I'm looking you in your face right now and I'm like, yo, Kwani, yo, you the man, son. Listen, word boy, your sneakers hot. And I'm not even telling you that somebody creeping up behind you to stab you. I'm like, Kwani, yo, you are the man. You're distracted. You're not going to pay attention. And this is how they distract you all. They distract you all off the things that interest you. They distract you with the Twitters and the Instagrams and the Facebook. You know how I know? Because I'm 28 and it distracts me too. So I know it distracts you, right? One of the illest things I seen while I was working with the program is it was this young lady who went to Parkland. And I always say this story because this blew my mind. If I would have known that I could do this in high school, gone, out the way, because I've been about my money. It was this young lady named Paige. She went to Parkland, right? And I'm pretty sure when everybody was going to kickbacks and chilling out, she was like, nah, she was curbing it. Like, I'm good, I'm straight, right? So it was time for the kids to get their scholarships and what school they was going to. It was like the senior day. And I remember sitting there, we were giving some awards away to some of our students for the YA program, and she was the last one to go up, and they were like, okay, well, Paige, come on up. Paige received think like 2 or 3 million in scholarships herself, right? But this was the crazy part of the scholarship. She got accepted to Harvard. She got a full ride to Harvard, right? Paid for everything. Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation gave her $250,000 tax-free money for the day she walks across Harvard stage. She gets $250,000 to do what she wants. Either go back to school, start a business, build a home, whatever. Now, mind you, she went to school for free, to Harvard for free. And she gets $250,000. Now, let me just tell you who went to Harvard, just to let you know. President Obama, right? The guy who started Facebook, right? Bill Gates. These are Harvard alums. So, matter of fact, they didn't even graduate except for President Obama. So, the way I'm thinking is, okay, so the people she around individuals who come from wealthy backgrounds who will be wealthy soon because they have great ideas. So if I got $250,000 and Facebook, when it started in 2004, if the guy from Facebook said, hey man, all I need is an $80,000 investment, we got this thing called Facebook going, and it's like, I got $250,000, sure, I'll give you $80,000. Now that $80,000 right now, what it would be worth, somewhere, I think I did the math, somewhere like $163 million. Because Facebook valued at $40 billion. So that investment would have been something that would have kept her family's family good for years, right? Now, a lot of times we don't think about generational. Sometimes we don't think about our brothers, our sisters, our nieces, our nephews, because we think about us. And I keep alluding to my homeboy who's locked up because what he didn't realize, what he realizes now, is that him being locked up didn't just affect him. I caught a case behind that. His mother lost his son. His mother lost her apartment because he was sending her money. His nephews lost the uncle. His sister was in an abusive relationship, but because he was there wasn't no abuse going down. But they snatched him out the home. So now it's fair game. See what I'm saying? So the decisions that you make, think critically. Because they don't just affect you oftentimes, right? A lot of times they affect the people around you. Now, another thing I want you guys to understand is how to develop a network. The people, you only go as far as the people that you stop and talk to for no reason. When I came in earlier, I said, listen, thank you for giving me some of your time, because time is something you can never get back, right? I lost money before. I lost money betting. I lost money just fell out of my pocket. I made it back. You know what I'm saying? It may took me some time, but I made it back. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, never gonna see them years again for the rest of your life. Just look forward. That time is done. You see what I'm saying? So time is something you should never waste. When you're building relationships, when you're building friendships, think of it as a business. Now, I know this might sound kind of harsh, but some of you guys get locked up because of your friends. Hey, case in point, myself, you know, I'm talking to you too. Now, when you build, if you ask any professional, any successful person, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Michael Jordan is not hanging around 1,000 there. It doesn't make any sense for him to do that. It's like, I'm worth 400 million. You're worth 100,000. What could you do for me that I can't do for me? Doesn't make sense. Won't hang around you. Bill Gates probably won't hang around people who work Michael Jordan money. It's like, oh, you're only worth $400 million. I'm 70 billion up. What could you do for me? It doesn't make sense. Not going to hang around you, right? Some of you guys need to have friendships or build relationships that you can leverage your friendships to gain, right? Because it's nothing wrong. And you know what? A lot of people tell you, don't be a user. I'm going to tell you flat out, point blank, I'm a user. I'm keeping it 1,000 with you. I don't misuse people, though. You understand? Whenever I holler at any of my young boys, Kwani, when I holler at you, what is it about normally? Money. It's about, hey, Kwani, you have a skill, you have an ability, this is how we can make money. You can make money for me and for you, right? Because I only want to give you game. I don't want to hurt you, because you coming up help me come up, right? I'm in the business of building people's brands, of helping people, extend their reach professionally and socially. That's what my business is. So the better you do, the better I look. So I want to make sure you do good, right? Because that's what it is. It's like if I got a homeboy who's a lawyer, I got a homeboy who's a doctor, I got a homeboy who's a politician, and I am a business owner, oh, I'm good. My network is getting stronger and stronger, because now the politician who has another friend who may be working on a city permit or who may own properties, because he's his friend and he's my friend, Oh, now I got another friend who I can leverage our relationship to benefit me and the person. A lot of times you guys choose relationships and you lose off the relationships because you don't choose the relationships right. And that goes back to you not knowing who you are and not knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Vision your brand, right? I have pictures in my home of me dressed up, and I framed them, right? Because I could remember 2010, 2011, I'll go to Parkland, fit it on, you know what I'm saying, Tim's, whatever, and Mr. Bill would be like, boy, listen, man, now, Andre, you gotta sharpen up. I'm like, Mr. Bill, man, get out my face, man, I'm doing me, the kids love me, everybody love me. He like, but see, you're not working just for them. You see what I'm saying? You trying to expand your brand like Mr. Bill. You're old, you don't know. I'm out here, you feel me? But slowly but surely, I remember going into the high school one time, and the principal, who I'm super cool with now, she acknowledged me as the guy with all the tattoos. She was like, yeah, the guy with all the tattoos. I said, my name is Andre. She was like, well, that's not how we just call you the guy with all the tattoos. And I'm like, man, that's not a way that, I really wanted to be known. But I do have a lot of tattoos, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. But slowly but surely, when I wanted to start making moves, I realized that people weren't respecting that one side of me because that's all I was showing them. I didn't show them the college-educated side. I didn't show them that I could speak well, that I could hold a conversation, that I could sit at the podium and keep you guys' attention, who they can't even keep you guys' attention, right? So then is when I realized my marketability. That's when I realized this is what I can do. This is what I can get paid to do because I like to do this, right? I have a passion for this. So when you're passionate about something, you figure out ways to do it. So I had to vision my brand. So from there, I started to change the people I hung out with. Still got some homeboys who are in the streets, but less of them, more people who are trying to be progressive, doing things like I'm doing, because birds of a feather flock together, right? Right? So if I'm sitting here and I'm hanging out with somebody who's not as smart as me, or just as smart as me, how am I growing? So my grandfather was like, before he died, he was like, listen, man, hang out with as many old people as you can. I'm like, what? He like, because they know things that you don't know. So hang out with people who are smarter than you. Diversify your friendships. You got a homeboy in the streets? Cool. Go get a homeboy who's Spanish. Just cuz. Learn their culture. Because you never know. The richest man in the world is from Mexico. Now, culturally, it's two different cultures, but if you want to get next to him and learn what he learned, you got to learn his culture, right? Because it's a business, people. Life, you live life, but life is a business. Some of you guys are going to be in the business of incarceration. Some of you guys are going to be in the business of, just messing up your situation. Now, lastly but not least, man, is positive affirmation. You guys have to speak life into yourselves. If you could quote a rap, you should be able to quote how good, how great you're going to become. You should be able to quote where you see yourself going. 3-4 years ago, I never seen myself doing this. Never seen myself dressing like this. Never seen myself caring enough about myself to be put in this situation, man. So I'm just encouraging you guys, man, to build and not destroy. And keep it 1,000 with yourself, because if you don't, you're going to jeopardize who you are, and you might jeopardize your freedom. So peace and love, man. I appreciate you guys giving me some time.
A young man who's going places and who came from a situation probably more difficult than any of us. How about another hand for Mr. Andre Russell?